White colonizers have been coming to South Africa since the 17th century. Earlier, they would exploit and carry out the worst forms of atrocities on the people of South Africa. However, after the end of colonialism, neo-colonialism stayed. It's because even if the colonial powers' control ended, they left white people in South Africa. It was not natural they were left while being in charge of all the high-ranking posts in administration, legislature, and judiciary. Since colonizers did not allow South African people to be a part of governance, only white people were eligible. This is the case to this day. Most judges and high-ranking officials are white and don't understand the people in South Africa and don't respect them. But from now on, they will. Recently, Julius Malema, who is South Africa's Member of Parliament and President of the Economic Freedom Fighters, humbled a white female judge in the court. What did he say, and why was he in court? With his bodyguards who know how to keep everyone under control. Let's find out. Julius Malema was present in a court in East London, South Africa, waiting for the judge to arrive. All the court staff, plaintiff, defendant, and witnesses were there, but the judge was nowhere to be seen. That's how the magistrate does every day, every week, every month, and every year of her job. She issues orders for everyone to be in court at sharp 12, but she herself comes 3 to 4 hours late, or whenever she feels she should go. Perhaps, this time, she did not know that Julius Malema was in court, and it was his case the court was proceeding on. After waiting for nearly 2 hours, leaving his parliamentary meetings besides the meeting with his economic freedom fighters, he stood up. He said that it was disrespectful for him to wait when the court time had passed 2 hours. He continued and said that she was not the law and would do whatever she wanted. Julius Malema was angry like never before, and it was natural. He could not fathom the fact that the judge used to do this deliberately to disrespect the people in court. It's a way for people with a colonial mentality to try to have respect. When people wait for them, they feel they are important. But the fact that they are so small is their importance that they have to use tactics to feel important. Julius Malema said that it's a norm for the judge to arrive late and make everyone seem inferior. He said that no journalist has ever written about this, and if they do, they will be thrown in prison. Is it justice? Is it how justice works? He said that justice would be never delayed no matter what happens. In court, the judge is the guardian of the law. And when the judges themselves start engaging in low-stooping actions like these, the law is under threat. South African people's rights are under threat. He said that he and his team respected her and came at the time she had asked. She should have respected them too and come on time because they were not her subordinates, who would stay silent forever and never speak. Julius Malema said that it's ill-disciplined of her who does not know that a judge is supposed to come on time. If he or she did not, they have no right to be in the post of a judge anymore. He clearly said at the end that it was complete nonsense, and he himself is not the type of person who would submit and stay silent, no matter what happens. Later, the female white judge came to the court, feeling embarrassed about what she had done. She did not expect that someone could rise and speak against her. But Julius Malema did because in South Africa, he held more power due to his political career and presidency of the economic freedom fighters. He is famous for having his bodyguards, which are a type of army around him. That's why he can speak against someone who is abusing the people of South Africa. It should be noted that in South Africa and all other African countries which were colonized in the past, people have been made to be scared of the administration. It's because the colonial powers wanted people to be scared of them, and this continues to this day, even if those countries have got independence. Freedom means nothing if the people are still being forced and abused and their rights are being suspended. People in Africa have been taught never to challenge their authorities, even if they abuse them. This has to change, and perhaps people like Julius Malema can show how this will be done. Before you know why Julius Malema was in court that day, you should first know who he really is and how he can be so straightforward with a judge. Well, Julius Sello Malema is a South African political powerhouse who's been making waves since his early years. Born on March 3, 1981, he's not a typical politician. Malema is a member of parliament and the driving force behind the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, a political party he founded in 2013. Julius Malema's journey into politics began when he was just 9. For many, It's hard to believe how a 9-year-old boy can engage in politics, and that's what makes Julius Malema so special. Later, he joined the African National Congress and walked on a path that would take him to some extraordinary heights and a few tumultuous lows. One of his biggest moments in the spotlight was when he became the president of the ANC Youth League. Back then, he was a fervent supporter of Jacob Zuma, who later became South Africa's president. Malema's relationship with Zuma hit rocky terrain after he got slapped with sanctions by the ANC in May 2010. He even jumped on the Zuma must go bandwagon before the ANC's 53rd National Conference. And in April 2012, the ANC gave him the boot for tarnishing their reputation. During his tenure as the leader of the ANC Youth League, he championed ideas such as the nationalisation of South Africa's mining industry and the redistribution of land without compensation. These policies, although not initially embraced by the ANC, would later become core principles of the economic freedom fighters. Malema's rise within the EFF was rapid. In 2014, he secured a seat in the National Assembly, and his leadership continued with a second parliamentary term in 2019. While some, including former President Jacob Zuma and Limpopo Province's Premier Cecil Matale, saw him as a potential future leader of South Africa, others were skeptical. Legal challenges have also been a significant part of Malema's political career. He was convicted twice for hate speech, once in 2010 for derogatory comments about Zuma's rape accuser, and again in 2011 for singing Dubul Ibunu, or Shoot the Boar. In 2012, he faced more serious charges of fraud, money laundering, and racketeering, which were eventually dropped in 2015. Some have argued that these legal actions were politically motivated. Malema's early life and education provide insight into his background. Belonging to Seshego, a town in Limpopo, South Africa, he grew up in a single-parent household, with his mother working as a domestic worker. After her passing, his grandmother took on the role of raising him. His involvement in politics began at a young age when he joined the ANC's Masupatsela movement as a child, where his early tasks included tearing down National Party posters. He continued to rise through the ranks, eventually becoming the national president of the Congress of South African Students in 2001, after serving as the provincial chairperson in Limpopo. He graduated from Molakaneng High School in Seshego and went on to earn a diploma in youth development from the University of South Africa in 2010. Subsequently, he pursued a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communications and African Languages at UNISA, completing it in March 2016. His academic pursuits continued with an honors degree in philosophy in 2017, followed by enrollment in a master's degree program at the University of the Witwatersrand in 2018. In 2008, Malema had risen through the ranks to become the provincial secretary of the ANC Youth League in Limpopo. His bid for the presidency of the National League was highly anticipated. Outgoing League President Fikile Mbalula backed Malema, while outgoing League Secretary General Sile Zikalala supported the more moderate candidate Saki Mofokeng. The election was anything but smooth, marked by a heated campaign and a chaotic plenary session. Malema eventually secured the presidency with 1,133 votes against Mofokeng's 1,696, accompanied by a team of allies, including Andile Lungisa as deputy president. However, disputes over the results emerged, with delegates claiming intimidation prevented them from voting. The conference even descended into disorder, with delegates tossing chairs. A special closed Congress in Johannesburg, recommended by Gwede Mantashe, the ANC's Secretary General, finally led to Mofokeng accepting the election results. Malema's early presidency aligned with his strong support for ANC President Jacob Zuma and his vocal criticism of former ANC President Thabo Mbeki. His infamous declaration in June 2008 that he was prepared to take up arms and kill for Zuma drew widespread condemnation. But perhaps it was misunderstood, as a political leader wanting to shine in the future would never do something like that. However, he vowed to eliminate any force opposing Zuma's ascent to the national presidency. While nominated to stand for election as a member of parliament in the 2009 general election, he declined, deeming parliament as for old people. As he energetically campaigned for the ANC and Zuma. This included hospital visits, which garnered criticism for disrupting students' education. Despite his initial alliance with Zuma, their relationship soured in 2010. Malema asserted that Zuma had failed to fulfill the left-wing policy agenda that had secured his election as ANC president. An alternative view posits that Zuma adjusted his stance due to Malema's perceived political threat. In 2009, Malema made headlines for defending South African runner Caster Semenya during the gender controversy surrounding her after the 2009 World Athletics Championships. He supported Athletics South Africa's decision to let Semenya compete even after learning of her intersex status. Malema argued that ASA President Leonard Chouene was right to protect Semenya and criticized international bodies for imposing their views on South African culture. This stance placed him in opposition to those who saw the issue as a matter of gender identity rights. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Later, Malema became a prominent advocate for the nationalisation of South African mines, a stance he first voiced in 2009. He argued that the Freedom Charter supported this position, despite it not being ANC policy. His advocacy aligned with the views of the National Union of Mine Workers. Malema also called for the seizure of land without compensation and criticized the willing buyer, willing seller principle. This stance stirred controversy and drew attention to issues of land ownership and redistribution in South Africa. In early 2010, Malema encouraged members of the ANC Youth League to join the South African National Defence Force. He revealed plans for Youth League leadership to participate in the reservist program. This move raised questions about the political involvement of the youth in military affairs and their role in shaping the country's policies. Despite facing challenges and controversies, Malema secured re-election as the president of the ANC Youth League in June 2011. His re-election highlighted his continued influence within the organization and his ability to maintain leadership despite internal divisions and opposition. But later, Malema's political opinions and his supporters' attacks on police and journalists made things worse for him. Hence, he was forced to leave his position as the president of the ANC Youth League. But by now, he did not need any league. He was a league in himself. Following his expulsion from the ANC, Malema emerged as a vocal critic of the government's actions during the August 2012 Marikana massacre. He called for Zuma's resignation and the establishment of a commission of inquiry. Malema's visit to Zimbabwe in October 2012 resulted in controversial remarks, accusing white people in Africa of appropriating indigenous resources and suggesting that compensating those affected by land expropriation was akin to thanking them with money for killing our people. Well, they were not only accusations, they were truth. Hence, when he found that no political party or leader was willing to speak like him, he established the Economic Freedom Fighters in June 2013. At the EFF's inaugural National Elective Conference in December 2014, Malema assumed the presidency, unopposed, with Floyd Shivambu as his deputy. In the 2014 general election, the EFF secured 25 seats in the National Assembly. Initially considering a legal challenge, Malema eventually accepted the results but maintained claims of election rigging. He took his seat in the National Assembly in May 2014 and was re-elected in 2019, participating in various portfolio committees. However, his parliamentary career was marked by numerous ejections due to contentious statements and disruptions. In August 2018, Malema refuted the white genocide conspiracy theory and criticized comments by U.S. President Donald Trump regarding South African farm attacks. He stated that there's a group of white right-wingers who are being trained by Jews in Pretoria to be snipers, drawing criticism from the South African Jewish Board of Deputies. In an interview with Al Jazeera in April 2016, he suggested that if the ANC government continued to respond violently to peaceful protests, we will run out of patience very soon and we will remove this government through the barrel of a gun. This led to the ANC opening a case of treason against him. All this suggests that Julius Malema has enormous power in South Africa, and he can say what nobody can imagine. He is straightforward and he does not believe in hypocrisy. When he knows he is right, he does not shy away from speaking, whether people like it or not. But why was Julius Malema in court? Well, it was because of the firearms-related trial of Julius Malema and his bodyguard, Adrian Snyman. The charges against Malema and Snyman stem from an incident during the EFF's 5th anniversary celebrations in 2018, when it's alleged that Malema showed a firearm in public. The state, which is the plaintiff in the case, argues that Snyman handed the firearm to Malema. But everyone knows that Julius Malema is being pushed into a corner due to his political power. After the judge was late, the trial finally started and several police officers provided their testimonies, including those who received viral footage of the event and analyzed it for evidence. The footage showed Malema apparently firing a rifle in front of a cheering crowd, leading to legal action by the lobby group AfriForum, which accused Malema of endangering the public and Snyman of supplying the firearm. Malema and Snyman's legal teams sought to have the charges dismissed, citing a lack of evidence. They argued that critical details about the alleged firearm and ammunition used in the incident remained unknown to the state, raising doubts about the case's credibility. Malema's lawyer emphasized that the evidence presented, including the videos, did not support the claim that Malema fired the rifle on stage. Malema's defense argued that there was insufficient evidence against him, questioning the authenticity of the viral videos, and noted the absence of eyewitnesses who could testify against him. In response, the state prosecutor argued that video footage served as a silent witness that provided an unbiased account of the events, which was better than relying solely on eyewitness testimony. The prosecution emphasized that the court had the opportunity to assess the footage and reach an informed judgment. Ultimately, the trial faced procedural challenges and raised questions about the strength of the evidence against Malema and Snyman. The case was remanded for judgment on October 19th, allowing the magistrate time to review the extensive documents and submissions presented during the trial. But what about the judge being late? Well, Julius Malema did not allow the matter to slip away when the judge arrived. He vowed to get a commitment from her that she would be never late as she had been in every proceeding for the past 5 years. He expressed frustration over the perceived delay in court proceedings. He criticized Magistrate Toinette Olivier for not being punctual, asserting that she had consistently been late in previous court sessions. Malema said that no one, including magistrates, is above the law, and they have a duty to respect those involved in court proceedings. In response, Magistrate Olivier adjourned the matter to a later date and expressed uncertainty about the timing of the accused's arrival and the media's setup. She said that she would be sure to be on time. This clearly shows that when someone speaks, another has to answer, no matter how powerful he or she is. Magistrate Olivier used to do this with everyone until she confronted Julius Malema, who had not been groomed to submit in front of anyone. He knew that he was right, and the case against him was due to political hatred. Hence, he stood up, raised questions, and made the judge accountable. That's how everyone in Africa should be. Do you think Julius Malema did the right thing? Isn't it true that people in South Africa and the entire Africa should be taught to speak for themselves and never submit to abusing authorities? Let us know your thoughts on whether white people in high-ranking posts should be taught how to interact or replaced. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.